Hello again, Libra. Dadhichi, Toth from astrology.com.au, and this is September 2015. It's a fairly significant month. There's some important transits taking place, and the big one really that takes place is the transit of Saturn out of your second house of finances on the 18th. This will be a welcome relief for you. Saturn is one of your friendly planets, but it still has its inherent nature of delaying and obstructing and restricting. It's one of the primary karmic planets of the zodiac, and its previous 2-year stint there in your zone of finance has obviously made this a challenge for you. Now it moves out of there into the third house on the 18th to commence its next 2.5-year chapter, and we're going to be talking a lot about that, but just briefly, when that occurs, you'll start to see a shift from the focus on the money itself, or the lack of money, or the need for money, to the communications level. So what may happen there is that the pressure can be relieved. There is still a little bit of pressure there, notably from your business partners or your spouses or long-term partners. Mars is fully aspecting, and in the it's going to move into the right angle square of Saturn. And I know I'm jumping around a little bit here, but I wanted to begin with the major transits here. Mars also makes a fairly significant transit out of that around the out of the 11th house now, on the 25th. So we see that it will, up until that time, probably around the same time as Saturn is moving out of this constrictive financial position, it will receive that hard aspect from Mars. That can be very, very frustrating before you experience that rather intense sense of relief. Sun and Jupiter, the opportunistic conjunction in your 12th house, that low-key part of your horoscope, will receive the transit of Mars into that position as well. These are difficult placements in a way if you're wanting to get a lot of physical work done, outer world sort of stuff. This 12th house favors you more if you're wanting to, sit down and meditate, do some deep psychological analysis. So it's best to work with those energies rather than against them. If you're contrary to those energies, then that frustration will mount, and no good will come of that. If you're feeling the need to be alone and to really get cracking on some of that inner work, this is the time to do it. You can really make some headway at this time. And I think because you've got less pressure from Saturn there in that second house of finance, then this is going to be a good time for you to do that and to get some real sort of clearing going on in the emotional and spiritual side of your being. I seem to be working backwards here, time-wise. I hope you'll forgive me. I'm just, in your case, for some reason, I've wanted to go straight for the jugular and look at the fairly important transits. Those transits out of sign into a new sign. Firstly, that one of Saturn, and then of the Sun, of Mars, and now the Sun, which we see transiting out of the 12th house on the 23rd. So whilst I'm saying you're going to have that low-key sort of energy going on up until the 28th, I think after that, what we call the solar return, the Sun moving back into your sun sign of Libra, is pretty powerful. It's also got Mercury there, and Mercury will move into its retrogression on the 18th. So it's a good planet for you, rules your 12th house and 9th house. 9th house of good fortune and past karma. So we see there what appears to be a bit of a contradiction, but I think the solar return is going to give you a lot more physical drive. You're thinking about yourself and how you can improve yourself, what you need to do to improve your chances in the world of commerce, the world of finance, dealing with others just generally. And so although it seems like you're avoiding the world when you do that inner work, it's actually quite the opposite. Clearing all that subconscious shit out of your head, out of your emotional level, is exactly what you need to release that positive creative energy to make an impact on the world. If you're weighed down with all that crap from the past, you're not of much use to anyone, least of all yourself. Mercury in the sign of Libra, your sun sign, is pretty excellent for communication, and you'll step that up under its retrogression after the 18th. So negotiations, which some astrologers believe should not take place under the retrogression, to me simply means you have to be careful in revising and looking over some of the work. Maybe there are some delays, but it is a positive planet for you, and its retrogression brings with it some positive results for sure. The 28th, we see an important full moon. It's a lunar eclipse. It takes place in the sign of Aries, which is the 7th house of relationships. Now, the month commences with the moon in Aries, very close to the south node, and then moving quickly into the conjunction of Uranus. So you could expect some quirky little shifts or changes in your personal life. If you're married, or you're in a long-term committed relationship, or you're in a business partnership, this 7th house regulates that part of your life and brings with it some important changes. The full moon, of course, reveals a lot about the emotional state, and it could be that your partner may start to reveal something of themselves at this time. An important note there too is that there's an impending transit of that south node out of that marital sector. That's also been causing some concern for you, and over the next month or so you'll start to see a relief in that area of your life. I think that will be triggered by this full moon, and the eclipse itself is notorious for releasing a whole lot of new sort of energy in that part of your life. Now, if you want to find out more about this, we have the textual monthly transits. You can follow up day by day at astrology.com.au and get these readings in the full context of the year in question 2015 with our yearly forecast. This is all free stuff. You can just come to the site. We have free oracles and readings there, all sorts of stuff that can help you develop your own intuition and to get a more in-depth analysis of some of the specific questions that you have for yourself, because naturally these are general readings for everyone born under Libra. If you want to do it properly, we recommend a personal reading with myself or some of the other practitioners here, and then we can really get down into the nitty-gritty of the time you're born, the place you're born, and see exactly the nuances of the transits as they relate to you as an individual, not as one of 100 million people born under your star sign. So I hope you appreciate that these are general readings, but designed to give you a pointer in the right direction. Till next month, have a good one. Look forward to your company again. Bye-bye.